This is nice. I would describe this as getting pretty nice. Still cold. Actually, still pretty freaking cold. So this morning, 28 degrees. I did a little bit of a spring cleaning. I've got a bad habit of just grabbing like an empty bottle, filling that with my pre. Today being kind of a little bit of a combo. I don't think I'm ready for a full scoop and a half of Super Savage yet. I've got to kind of ease into it a little bit. That's the raw, every ingredient, beta-alanine, caffeine, actually legitimate, super intense kind of pre-workout. So I mixed the Bum Essential with just a quarter scoop of the Super Savage. So more like quarter Savage, something along those lines. But I'll slam it, and then it's like, well, do I bring the bottle back in and rinse it and reuse it? I should, but it turns into a situation of take a little glance at the passenger seat legroom, and then I just have a pile of bottles. I don't let it get dirty, but I gotta stop doing that. It's just stupid. It's not even cool. But yeah, I'm feeling good this morning. It's chest day, carved up chest day, home, and I only have one goal in mind. And this is what I really like. This is a state of being going forward for the rest of this year, which really resonates with me. And that is knowing that all I've got to do, or not all I've got to do, but all I really want to do is kill it. I want to come into the gym, rip a lift in a good way, get as good of a pump as possible, as well as, obviously, induce progressive overload, still do a productive workout. I don't think I'm growing my lower back from getting a lower back pump from sitting over the sink doing dishes. That's what I'm saying. But basically, have a badass lift, eat accordingly, and sleep. As long as these three things are in order over these next few months, you may as well, I may as well be a freaking stick of bamboo just gonna sprout up. So I'm still getting to equilibrium weight. I don't know exactly what that is yet. I'm gonna keep my calories around 3,000 or so. I set them on my tracker. I don't remember the exact macros that I set it to, but about 250 grams of protein, 75 grams of fats, and then however many grams of carbs accordingly is putting me at like a 3,000-ish number. And I want to go up from there. So I'll eat that's just about maintenance for right now. And then as I watch the scale go up, I'm going to keep doing my cardio, and I should start to notice a freaking trend. And I think what I should do is really plot my weight on a graph or like a Google Charts or Google Sheets for this off season. Normally I don't, and I just track it like in my mind. Like I know I've been 250 for a week, and now I'm 251. But if you've never done an off season before, or let's just call it a very intent gaining phase, tracking your morning weight at the same time after you've gone to the bathroom, ideally in your birthday suit, just for consistency's sake, before you've eaten or drank anything, get on the scale, plot that weight, do it again for, weeks on end. Once you can actually look at that on a graph, it's, not validating, but it is pretty cool to see, because it's freaking quantitative proof that you're growing, So I'm going to make sure I do that for this off season. But I'm not at my maintenance weight yet. I'm still kind of fluctuating from, all my water retention and rebound and freaking sickness and everything else. But stomach is finally feeling pretty normal. And that's a good feeling. It's I'm not the most zen person in the world. I'm not always as content as a monk, of course. But after that week, I'm feeling very grateful that my baseline is just okay right now. It is not a good feeling to be incapacitated in any manner. So that's one more thing about this off season, which I'm going to be very particular about, and that's not hurting myself. So as much as I'm going to say, all right, let's get some freaking weight moving, obviously for the purpose of, making a more intense set, I'm not going to, push it to the point where I say, all right, you know what, I don't care that my shoulder is like, a little off. Let's still go for 4 plates on incline Smith, or something like that. Because if I hurt myself, that may as well be just taking 3 steps backward. So that's another one of my kind of high tier goals is, keep my tendons and whatnot intact, which is kind of, it's just a situation of learning your lesson, I think. Like, the smartest lifter never gets hurt. But in a way, I kind of feel like I would never say you should hurt yourself, because then that means you actually really brought it. That's kind of just a cope. Like, if I hurt myself, I could say, oh, well, I really brought it. But really, I was just going too heavy, But if you actually really push it, every so often you might kind of get on the edge of, tweaking something. But, yeah, you never want to go over that edge. Let's just put it that way, But now I can, this is quite the ramble. I'm going through all sorts of topics. So, getting back to today, not just grandiose lifting schemes. What am I thinking about this chest lift, about this chest pump? We'll see. I'm going to warm up, and then I'll decide what I want to do. I haven't done incline Smith for a while, and I'm already imagining myself doing it, so I'll see how I feel. But before any of that, I'm going to warm up my rotator cuffs. I'm going to do a couple of cable rows, get my shoulders, lats, even my chest and my arms and my forearms warm, and then decide, all right, where do we want to go first? Do I want to start with an incline Smith? I don't think I want to do dumbbells, partially because I haven't done heavy dumbbells for a while, but also my hamstrings are wrecked from yesterday. So even picking up the dumbbells is going to be a bit of a challenge. I might actually, I don't know. I might need to orient my split in a different way, because so far what I'm planning on doing is legs, chest, back, arms, repeat, rest days added as necessary. But if I do a crazy leg day, my hamstrings are going to be cooked. And then if I want to do dumbbell bench the next day, well, it's going to be kind of tricky to pick up the 150s or potentially beyond those if, from the floor, if my hamstrings are cooked. So that's one thing that I might adjust. A lot of things to think about, but I have got time, so I may end up changing my workout split. We'll see. We will freaking see. But how about we stop chatting and just get this pump started? Let's start with some bent over cable press. The reason being, I can go pretty heavy and I'm not worried about hurting myself. Whereas if I were to do like incline Smith right off the bat, I don't know. It's a strong movement. So I'm going to bend over as such, 150 on either cable. I'm not doing hand over hand. This will just be straight pressing. And we'll go from there. I might do a few of these too. All right, come on. All right. Okay. Ooh. All right, yeah, let's run that back. Oh, shit. Ooh. Yeah, let's do 2 more like that. There is definitely something about, I don't want to say just the moving of weight, but if you, I really think you're missing out if your logic is only light squeezing controlled. I'm not saying it's not good, but if that's the only thing you do, I'd question it. Two. Yeah. Poof. Poof. Okay. Whew. All right. Let's grab a new press. I'm feeling fucking good. This is nice. All right. So I was getting ready to throw a 25 on to the 2 plates that I've already got loaded, but I think it's probably in my best interest to stick to the 2. So let's just start with 2 plates, maybe do 2 1/4 if the next set feels good, or if this set feels like this is very comfortable weight. But remember, I haven't done this machine heavy for a little while. You know, a lot of my chest work has been cable squeezing. So, you know, even just doing these hefty sets is different. Now, I think they're good, but I got to ease into it. You know, you can't just go from, light squeeze and pencil neck work to horse cocking at full swing. Speaking of Mr. Bugenhagen, I actually take something back for my warm up today. I do my regular cable rotator cuffs, but I went to the dumbbells and I was doing the fucking circles. Actually, I was doing circles out with the 15s to get my shoulders warm. I think you're onto something. That is, now that I've actually kind of done it of my own volition, that's a good shoulder warm up. So if you haven't seen that Eric Bugenhagen video, that little bit of a shoulder warm up, I was kind of hating on it in the beginning. No, that's legit. I don't know what the hell I was saying. But let's pick a new song and get real. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do 1 more with the 25s on either side. All right. I don't know if the excitement translates, but I love the fact that on all these sets, I don't have to hold anything back. The only reason I'm going to freaking rack it is if I can't fucking get any reasonable amount of a partial out. That's how the gym should feel. Or at least it's how I like it. All right. All right. Two. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right, let's move on. Those were good. All right. All right, so here's the plan. Kind of a little bit of a superset. I grabbed the pec deck because I thought that would be a good next move. But even lightweight, uh, it's like I've kind of already cooked my chest so much that a light squeezing set, I almost can't even do it because I can't even squeeze that hard. This is definitely the wildest chest pump I've had for a while. But the way that I'm going to go about this last set, or I think this last pair of movements, I might do 2 sets. Honestly, if this one is good, it could be it. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to pre-exhaust with kind of in front of body, basically almost a dumbbell vertical fly. And these are funky. Like, this is not a complete movement. It is a good squeezing, like, pre-exhauster. So I'm going to grab the 30s, put them in front of my thighs here. Like, I want them hanging over my lats. I don't want my arms like down here at my sides. My arms are kind of hanging in front of my body a little. And I'm just doing this, right? So I'm not using my shoulder. I'm keeping my arm tense, but like, you know, semi-relaxed. I'm just using it as a pivot point. And I'm just pulling the dumbbell across my body this way. So what that does, for one, it lets me squeeze the shit out of my chest. But honestly, it kind of helps me feel my upper pec squeeze as well. So if you put your chin down as you do them, depending on how big you are, you might be able to actually feel your chest hit your chin and really tense up. So that's like, you know, doing a single arm movement and holding your muscle and feeling it flex. I think it's a good mind-muscle connection, almost just exercise. But the 30s here until my chest is burning, and then just do some hand-over-hand presses on the cable to kind of really finish them off. I might, you know, we'll see. We'll see if I end up doing 2. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good, but that was too light. Let's do one more. 40s instead of 30s, 130 instead of 100, and then we will be done. I don't have to say it, but I'm excited to pose down. All right, so I've got a favor. My saved TikTok edits are not hitting like they used to. So if you have any like super hype shit, it doesn't even have to be the gym, just anything like crazy hype, tag me so I can see those. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's find some lighting. All right. Yeah, that is solid. That's a good feeling. I mean, even just throughout that lift, like looking at myself in the mirror through the shirt, like just, kind of doing my own like mean mugging in between sets. I can just feel myself swelling up in a very good way. So let's see how chest is looking under some direct freaking light. But yeah, it feels much, oh yeah, certainly on the swollen side. Very freaking nice. So I just looked back at a couple older videos where I'm wearing this exact same shirt, and I filled it out much more. So I guess that must have been a time when I was like closer to 260, whereas right now I think this morning was 237, I don't know, 238 or something. So not so hefty. But let's make sure we're in focus here. Yeah, there we go. All right, now let's hit something. Oh man, yeah, pumped is a freaking understatement, that's for sure. So that wasn't even like the heaviest lift either. Like those sets of cable press and machine press were, they were heftier, but we're not even in the full swing of things yet. So how about we just get in the car and freaking go home and discuss. Yeah, that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling when you get in the car, you sit down, you've had your post-workout sort of just play on your phone a few moments while the AC turns up, or would you say the AC turns down? I don't know, either way. And you're still residually pumped more than, just a bit after the workout is over. That's one thing that I have not been experiencing for the last few months. I guess what I have been experiencing is a fleeting pump. When carbs are not so abundant, let's just put it in that way, the pump suffers. The pump most certainly suffers. If you've ever been through a legitimate dieting phase, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can still get pumped, of course, but staying pumped, getting home and still having a residual pump, yeah, that's that's just a good state of being. So I think what I need to do now, or at least before my next arm day, which will be in a couple days, is make sure I've got a measuring tape on me. It doesn't get me going to measure my calves or my quads as much, but the only measurement I really end up caring about is my arm pumped and unpumped numbers. So I don't know what I'm at right now, pumped or unpumped, but going forward, every lift, pumped and unpumped, within some variability. Of course, if you zoom in on that graph on like a lift by lift basis, some days I might just have a crazy pump, some days it might be a little less wild, or maybe my hydration was on, or maybe one day it was off. But the gradual average trend should be that every lift I'll be a tiny bit bigger around, so I might go from let's do a prediction. So next arm day, a couple days, I'm still a little, oh my god, this is like the weirdest phase ever. So I flattened out and depleted before the show like 2 weeks ago, and then carbed up and filled up and had like a watery rebound, and then I just had another depletion phase from this freaking sickness. And now that I'm getting over it and I can finally get some food and water in my system, I'm having like another kind of little watery rebound. Not as crazy as the one after the show, but still a little bit. So now I haven't even hit equilibrium yet. Like, I keep going back and forth. Like, this is freaking bananas. You know, if I get hit with like a Better Call Saul, go through the desert with the luggage situation, that would be the cherry on top. Of course, in that situation, let's just say Lalo's bail would not get paid, and I would just disappear. But once I'm in a regular water carb equilibrium, then I should start to see that trend move up. But since I'm a little extra watery now, and probably in 2 days, I can assume that I should be pretty wildly pumped. So what do we think? Is a 20-incher possible? Do I think I can hit 20 inches pumped arms? Not exactly certain. 20 inches was like my peak bulk pumps measurement. So I don't think I'll be right at 20 right now. Like 20 inches at 260. So now that I'm around like 230 something, mid 230s, upper 230s, maybe I'm not there. But I'm still bigger than I was during my last dieting phase. So I've got some more like muscle tissue on myself. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to see. But I should be in that 19-inch pumped range, probably 19 and a half or so. So that's one thing that I'll measure. And now that even just saying that, it's making me think I should probably measure my calves as well. I'm going to take my calf training a little bit more seriously this off-season too. Last year, or over this last year rather, calves have kind of been a little bit on the back burner for me. They're there, is kind of the extent of that. But I want some freakier calves, so I'm going to hit those on a much more consistent basis. Historically at least, I've done calves with cardio, where it's been 30 minutes of cardio, and then calves was like just the finisher of those. Get a calf pump. But I think I might need to just throw them in on an actual like splitly basis. So probably just do calves at the end of maybe a lighter day. Maybe calves after arms, calves after something. I don't know, something like that. I've definitely got the energy. You can always throw some calves in at the end. You can even play on your phone a little bit when you're hitting calves, depending on the machine. If you're doing like single leg calf raises on the leg press, that sort of needs your full attention. But if you're doing like a calf machine where it's stack loaded with a pin, I mean, you can kind of just sit there and pump out reps, and get like a legit calf pump. But we'll see. So I think I'll start measuring my calves and my arms, and then everything else will kind of just be a visual / strength progression basis. But yeah, things are set up quite well. I'm very excited knowing that in about 4 months' time, my body's composition and size will be very different than what it is currently. I can say that with absolute freaking certainty. And if you've never done an off-season before, that might seem a little bit more far-fetched for you, because it's like, well, I've never done a bulk before. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the weight on my scale change. There's a lot of I don't knows, and that's just kind of the deal with anything if you've never done it before. So that's where you can hedge your bets well if you do a few things right. Are you tracking your calories? That's going to help. Are you weighing yourself on the scale consistently every day in the morning? Even better if you track it on your phone so you can plot it like I was talking about earlier. That's going to help. Are you training consistently, and are you actually bringing it? Like, the whole point of an off-season bulk, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that I want to make every lift insane. Like, I want to bring it, and I want to know it, that I brought it every time. And I'm eating so much food, I've got the energy to do so. I don't have to hold anything back. I can actually seriously push it every freaking set. So is your intensity on par with the progress that you want to see? So those are the kind of things you should have sort of in order, And if you can get them in order, well, then progress is not going to be an if. That's a phrase I say all the time. I really like it. If you've got well, I guess I just said if in the beginning of that statement, but assuming that you're showing up consistently, you're getting your meals down, and you're actually tracking everything and adjusting your meals and your training and your cardio accordingly, There is no if. There is no am I maybe going to make progress. You've really got no choice, right? The guy who shows up on the regular has no choice but to make progress. And showing up, I don't mean being in the gym. I don't mean clocking in and then clocking out. I mean actually being present. Like on a set-by-set basis, at least on average, you're not really distracted by anything else. This set in this current moment is it. You have no outside thoughts. In between sets, you can chat. You can have a little bit of water fountain chit chat, of course. But for your real set, you take a few huffs and puffs and get your music going. There is absolutely nothing in the world that can distract you. If that's the case, well then, dude, look, time is on your freaking side. We'll just put it like that. But either way, I got nothing else to say there, so I'm going to get some food in my system, keep slamming a bunch of fluids, and get back to a hydration equilibrium, and then I'll see you tomorrow. So I'll be, I got a little bit of a travel day today, so I guess we'll see where that ends up taking us. So next lift will be out of state. What state will that be in? I guess we'll just find out tomorrow. But yeah, either way, I'll see you then.